All right.
Oh man. But anyway, yeah, we're done with January now. I did my carnivore diet for the month of January.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
And it went really well. We had a couple nights where we were just so late. It was just we cheated and we just picked up a pizza on the way home.
Yeah.
And ate pizza. But for the most part, stuck to that diet pretty good. Did the dry January. That didn't exactly go completely dry. It was more of a damp.
More of a damp January.
More of a damp January. It wasn't wet by any means, but it was a little. It got a little damp. I probably had, the equivalent of. I mean, there was one day we went out and all that, and I ended up having a few beers. But after that, I don't think I had but another 2 or 3 beers the rest of the month.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just didn't have a whole lot of alcohol at all. Doing the carnivore diet, I'd run out of blood pressure medicine in December. Did not have a doctor. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I got a new doctor now. So I actually have a doctor's appointment I'm going to tomorrow for my yearly physical and all that. They always have to do blood work to see about, when you're on blood pressure medicine, it will affect your liver and all that. So they have to check all that periodically. Been on blood pressure medicine for at least 20 years, 25 years. Had to be around, had to be somewhere around 2000 when I got on it.
Yeah.
So I've been on blood pressure medicine for a long time. And again, my doctor always told me your blood pressure's not that bad. You could just adjust your diet and you'd be fine. And I didn't want to adjust my diet, so I took the pill.
Right.
So ran out of them, didn't have any more left. We finally got a hold of our old doctor and made it to the point where they could send me in a prescription. Mm-hmm. And then, knowing I was going to be seeing a doctor in February. But I'd been feeling good. And so I was like, I'm going to check my blood pressure before I even take it. I haven't had to take any blood pressure. I haven't taken any blood pressure medicine now for almost 2 months.
Wow.
My blood pressure is absolutely fine. Perfect. I check it every morning. Was checking it every morning. I don't do it now because it's always right on.
Yeah.
Right on. So I will say that the changing my diet and can I give all the credit to being a carnivore diet?
Right.
That I don't know. The fact is, I cut out my number one snack of choice, pretzels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's and I like a lot of that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I eat a lot of pretzels. Now I don't mean I have a handful a day.
Right.
I mean sometimes I was eating a
bag a day.
So I ate a lot of pretzels, which is obviously a lot of salt, and it's not the good salt. If it's Himalayan salt, sea salt,
right,
you can eat as much of that as you want. It'll never affect your blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Iodized salt, Morton salt, the kind of crap they sell at Walmart that you put on your table, that stuff's horrible for you.
Yes.
So
it melts snow and ice pretty well, though.
That it does. So I don't know if it was just because it's the carnivore diet or not. Mm-hmm. Now I've stuck with it. I know I'm a week into February now, but because of my doctor's appointment, I wanted to stay on that diet. I know I've lost about 15 pounds.
That's pretty good.
I was 234 when I started it. I'm right at 218 now.
Nice.
Most of my weight is in the belly, so that's the best weight to get rid of. If you can lose any weight, lose the belly weight. Mm-hmm. So I got rid of some of that belly fat, and the sodas was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I've had now especially since January. I usually have a soda with my cigar.
Right.
That's my preference.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is actually cran apple. So.
How's that pairing with your cigar?
Oddly enough, I want it to be a new fad. I want everybody to start I say cran apple, it's Snapple is what it is. It's Snapple. And I felt like Snapple was probably better than soda and beer, because that's what I generally drink. So I tried Snapple. I had a bunch of it from a party we had 2 years ago that nobody ever drank it. So that's probably why this tastes different. I'm finally drinking fresh stuff.
It should taste better than.
But it's got a little more zip to it. So that's where I've been at for the year. I mean, we had a very cold January, very snowy, cold January. It was a good old fashioned type of January, where We got snow fairly early in January, and it stayed on the ground through the entire month.
Right.
It was February before all the snow finally melted.
It's been a long time since we've had that kind of snow.
Back in the day, it would snow in December, and it was on the ground until April.
Right.
And that doesn't happen anymore because we have so many weird warm days in between. So it was a long winter, or a long January, and now we're in February. Now it's going to start going really fast.
Right.
Now, like I said, I've stuck pretty close to my diet. I haven't cheated much on the diet at all. I think the very first day, I had peanut butter and bacon sandwich for breakfast.
Tasted like heaven.
Oh, on a bagel, peanut butter, bacon. Oh man, it was just absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
And again, the bacon was no big deal.
Right.
I mean, you eat bacon and eggs every morning on a carnivore diet. Mm-hmm. But to have that bagel, I haven't had any bread.
Right.
And I eat a lot of bread. I eat a lot of pretzels. That's the stuff I eat. Everything I eat is carbs.
Right.
So without any of those carbs anymore and a ton of protein, it worked well for me.
Nice.
How about you? How's your January?
Long. Very busy.
I would imagine.
Yeah, the chip business, between, playoffs. Between the playoffs going and all the snowstorms that we had, it was a very busy January. People like their chips when they're snowed in.
Yeah, and it's got to be a pain in the butt when all your parking lots are covered in snow, and that's what a lot of people don't think about. That not only are you doing that, but you got to get a two-wheel dolly out. You got to use hand trucks to get your product in and out of the store. All that stuff. Yeah, they generally get the streets cleaned pretty quick.
Right.
But
the first day after the big snow, I was stuck at the first stop at the gas station because they hadn't got their parking lot area cleared off. As soon as I turned in, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to make this because I got a smaller truck and it sucks in snow. And as soon as I hit it, I was like, nope, I'm not. I'm done. I'm stuck. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. None of our bosses are at work yet. So I went out and dug with my hands and dug 2 trenches and was able to back out. Yeah.
I had an incident where I went down by where my camper is at in the woods. And there's one little hill area, and the same thing with my truck. I got there, and my place is up a hill a little bit, so I didn't even attempt to go up there. I knew I wouldn't.
Yeah.
My truck is just 2-wheel drive. Didn't have enough weight in the back. Didn't realize it was going to be that bad down there. And once I got there, I was like, crap, I shouldn't have came here. I was getting ready to leave, and I have to kind of go over this hill, but then it goes down, and it's a really, really 90-degree turn. It was like, and I couldn't get turned around, so I was going back. Well, I got stuck. I had to walk back to my camper, and I pulled out I had big rugs in front of the door, so I got those and shoved them under the tires, and then got enough traction to where I get going. I had one rug under one tire, and I found some branches on the side of the road that I could stick underneath the other one, just so it would get some kind of traction. I got brand new tires, so I have good tires. It's just, so I got moving. I got it down to an area where I could turn around and come back head first, and nerve-wracking going down that.
Oh, I bet.
Sharp hill and then to the right. It was like, boy, if I don't make that turn, I'm going into a nice big tree. And had no problem getting out, but yeah, it had me a little nervous.
Yeah, luckily that week, because I have a couple stops that are way out in the boondocks, but they happen to be on the off week. So that week I didn't have to go to those stops. So by the time I did,
that's good.
The roads were plenty cleared off.
All right, well, Wes, we're here doing a February podcast. It's still cold outside, and we're sitting in a nice warm studio now and enjoying a good cigar. You want to go first on your cigar, or you want me to go first?
You can go first. I know it's been a while since we've done this.
It's been a long while, and it's going to be fun. I mean, this is kind of going to be, we got Badass Beard Care products sitting right out here.
Yep.
Still our sponsor for the podcast. Love Badass Beard Care. It is military owned, veteran owned. USA product. Been a sponsor of the show and this podcast now since we got it started, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
So going on about a year with them. If you need any product, you always attach something to this podcast, don't you? A link?
There's a link inside the description for this episode. And anywhere you see Steel Horse Thunder, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, anything, you'll find the link for Badass Beard Care.
You buy your product, you can use Steel Horse in for the code or whatever, and that'll get you a discount. You'll save a little bit of money. We'll actually make a little bit of money, and everybody is happy. It's fantastic beard care product.
It's amazing.
They got more than just beard care. They've got deodorant. They've got.
I love the deodorant.
Their regular hair, their shampoo and stuff. Chuck's Hogwash is just fantastic. I absolutely love it. I just finished another bottle of it.
Oh, did you?
I've got to buy another bottle now because I just finished that one. Didn't realize I was that low on it. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, the deodorant is amazing. Like, I'm one that I've always, like, any deodorant I get, it wears off real fast because I sweat so bad. And with their stuff, it goes on smooth. You don't have all the white clumps or anything like that. And I don't sweat through it somehow, so.
Nice.
It's good stuff.
So Badass Beard Care. All right, man. We're smoking cigars, and this is going to be probably mostly a cigar type of podcast. We haven't done one in a while. It's funny. When I first started smoking cigars, I'd smoke maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? About one every 3 or 4 months, I'd have a cigar. And I know down at the camper, I always enjoyed one there. But I mean, when I bought cigars, I smoked a lot of the wood tip Black and Milds.
Yeah.
I smoked some of those backwoods, the other style. I used to smoke a lot of those. CAO had those Moon Trance, and I had the small cigarettes or cigarillos that are in the little tin cans. I used to use those in the winter, smoke those in the wintertime. I think I first started smoking regular cigars. It was a whiskey infused or whiskey flavored, the Maker's Mark. And it actually came in a tubo.
Yeah.
Came in a glass tube, had the wax on top, just like their bottles. And I used to smoke those. That was always one of those. If I wanted a real cigar, I'd buy one of those and have that by the campfire at the camper. That's generally where I smoked those.
Right.
Then, I'd smoke some Fuentes. I smoked some Padrones. Those are your two probably biggest names out there. Yeah. But never really got into cigars to the point of what's a cigar really about. And,
right.
For me, if I bought Padrones 64s years ago, and I remember I spent $25 for a cigar. And I bought 3 of them because I had 2 other friends that we were getting together on Christmas Eve, and I wanted this nice celebratory cigar. Now, again, this was a long time ago, so you're talking 10 years ago. Right. I spent $25 a piece on them. So now I think they're $35, $40. Jeez. But I smoked, and it was one of the anniversary Padrones. But it was, I think I said 64, but it wasn't. It was one of the other ones. But then I don't know. I just started looking into different cigars. I think you and I used to look online.
Yeah.
And that's when I found those Mark Twain cigars. And it was like, well, shoot, I can get a box of these for $60.
Cheap.
I can get 20 cigars for this. So I bought them and loved them.
Yeah. And
I just smoked one the other day. I did because I was buying this. If you get their Toros, it's a Gordo, so it's 6 inches, but it's a 60 ring gauge.
Right.
I started off with their Robustos, which were a little smaller, but even that ring gauge is still a 56.
Okay, that's 54. But
it's darn near a 60 ring gauge as well. It's just only 5 inches long instead of 6. Right. But I've always kept them ever since then. And now I smoke a cigar a day. Sometimes on the weekend I might smoke 2 in one day.
Yeah.
And I reach out to a bunch of different brands now. So now there's a ton. Do I still buy the cheap Mark Twains? Yes, I do.
Yeah. You gotta have an everyday cigar.
And those are perfect when I'm outside. I'm not going to smoke an expensive cigar out on a windy day out by a fire. You know what I mean? It's like you're not going to enjoy it.
Right.
But when I'm working out in the yard or I'm on a lawnmower, again, I'm not going to light up a $20 cigar, but I will light up a $4 Mark Twain or a factory smoke. I still got factory smokes in my humidor.
I do like the factory smokes.
So, I mean, I like all cigars, but it's become more than just an occasional thing for me. Now, it's a hobby. It really is a hobby. And it can be an expensive one.
Right.
You know, I can remember the first humidor I bought, and then I can remember the next one I bought, and then I can remember the next one I bought. And somebody made a comment because I talked about those Mark Twains. I said, man, if you leave them in the humidor when they age, because I smoke the Maduros.
Yeah.
And let them age, you put a year's worth of age on them, you'll be amazed how good those cigars really are. And somebody made a comment, why would you waste that much space in your humidor to age a cheap cigar? And I said, well, first of all, I have humidors,
you're right.
plural,
right.
so space isn't really that big of a problem for me. I have space, and it's like, but I don't smoke the same cigar every day.
Right.
It's like that box, it lasted a year. I've been smoking them throughout the year, and I'm just saying, by the time I get down to the last two,
right,
you know, the last couple cigars left, that they're usually about a year old by then.
Yeah.
And they just taste better. They're smoother. They're really, really good. But today, I am smoking. Now I am on a Montecristo here. Now I mentioned I smoke the Maduros. Most of my cigars are Maduros. That's just what I prefer.
Right.
This right here is the Montecristo. It's the Grand Exhibition Batch 23. So, this is a very unusual cigar for me because this is a Connecticut wrapper.
It's a dark Connecticut.
This is a Connecticut, I believe it's a Connecticut seed and was probably grown in Nicaragua because they call this a Nicaraguan Puro.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's a Connecticut seed.
Yeah.
But it is extremely mild. Very, very mild. I think they say mild to medium.
Yeah. They usually say all of them mild to medium. They're never medium.
Yeah, this is a very mellow cigar. It's a Nicaraguan Puro, so that's why I'm saying that Connecticut wrapper is probably.
Right.
Now this is batch 23. Do you want to hear a little story about how they got the name Grand Exhibition?
Yeah.
Back when they used to do the World's Fairs. I'm talking back in the 1800s.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the 1960s when I went to the one in New York. The 1964 World's Fair.
I kind of forgot they kept doing
I
them.
was there
in
1964. I was in the stroller, so I don't remember nothing about it. But I've seen pictures of me and my family, and by God, I was there. One of the big things they would do, in fact, at that particular World Fair, was when White Owl cigars came on the scene. And they advertised at that World's Fair. It was where a lot of cigar people would come to the World's Fairs. And a lot of times that's what they would do is like the agricultural part of it. They would actually have tobacco farmers there. And they would show the different tobacco leaves and how you roll cigars and all that kind of stuff. And if they had a new thing, that's where they... And so the Grand Exhibition is actually a line that takes there's three different manufacturers that make them. Montecristo makes one.
Yeah.
Romeo and Julieta makes one. And H. Upmann makes one. So there's three different companies that make their own version of ones that they actually had at the World's Fair.
That's pretty cool.
Now, so the original one, just the plain old Montecristo Grand Exhibition, that one had the Habano wrapper with Nicaraguan fillers. This one, they came out, it's batch 23, so I'm assuming it came out in 23 is when they did this one. and they went with the Connecticut, so it's a little milder, a little mellower.
Okay.
I prefer a Habano. I do like a Habano wrapped cigar, but this right here, I bought one. I bought this box right now. If I was to get them on sale for a 5-pack, you would pay the same amount that I bought a box of 20 of these. I got them dirt cheap. I don't know if it was a misprint. I don't know if somebody made a mistake or what. But yes, I didn't pay much at all for this.
Huh.
So a stick that would normally be 10, 12 bucks on its own, this is about a $3 cigar for me.
Wow.
So
Did you get that on a daily deal or something?
that was a daily deal.
Was it?
And it was the very next day, that same deal, that box was $258 on sale. And I got it for about 80, 70 or 80 bucks.
Wow.
And again, this is a Toro now. This is a
Right.
Toro. It's
That's a
6
big
inch.
cigar.
6 inch. Now it's a 50 ring gauge, so it's a smaller ring gauge than some of the bigger ones that I do smoke.
Right.
But man, it's just, I smoked it. I bought it sight unseen.
Yeah.
It was like, I've never tried one of these.
I've never been doing it.
I've never even tried the regular one.
Oh.
So it was like, that just seems like an awfully good price.
Right.
And I looked at other sites and saw how much they really are. So I was like, I got to do them.
Yeah.
And my God, I was so pleasantly surprised. I think it's because it has that copper color.
It is
that
a cool wrap
orangey
on it.
black band.
Yeah.
So I wore my orange shirt. I wore my black hat, and I ride a Harley. It was like, I
Right.
need this cigar. Took one out of the box immediately, put it in my humidor, unwrapped it, and just set it in my humidor. Took it out of the cello, and let it sit for 3 days. I always, you know me, I always let them sit for a month before you even touch them.
Yep.
I can't, so that's the best way to do it. Take them out of the cello and everything, and just set them in there naked, and let them, they'll acclimate much faster.
Right.
And 3 days later, I smoked one, had a little tiny burn issue with it, because it was, I mean, it traveled during January.
Yeah.
You know, from Pennsylvania to here, or wherever it came, Pennsylvania. So it's in very, very dry climate and everything else. So it smoked good,
And
flavor was
extreme
good.
Cold.
Smoked another one a couple weeks later. It was just fantastic.
Oh, yeah?
So I lit up another one today.
Nice.
I thought this is the one I want to do the review on, because I've smoked a couple of them, and now it has sat long enough to really, it's been relaxed, and I'm just telling you, it's a very creamy, when they talk about a creamy cigar,
Right.
or really nice finish, it's got a real clean finish to it. It doesn't leave your mouth tasting like an ashtray.
Right.
Some will do that.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
will do that when you get down to that final third of the cigar.
Yeah.
All of a sudden that finish starts, it's just like, all right. And the reason is, you're smoking, I'm drawing smoke through this whole thing.
Right.
So by the time it gets down to here,
It's had a lot of smoke buildup.
there's a
in there.
ton of resin that is built up and everything else. And so, but this cigar, it's a very vanilla-ish, is that the way you say that? But it's super creamy.
Yeah.
And again, I don't taste notes. I can't
Right.
tell you, well, this tastes like fig. Well, it
Yeah.
tastes like dried fig, actually. And you have a little bit of molasses on the finish, but through the retrohale, you know, there's absolutely no, very little spice out of this.
Right.
Very little spice. Retrohale, most of the cigars I smoke, it'll singe the hairs out of your nose when you blow that out. The spice is so strong.
Right.
This one here is just a super mild. There's no spice on the end of it. I say none at all.
Yeah.
Somebody else might say, well, it's got a little bit of spice at the
Right.
end. But just a
You
fantastic
also
cigar.
Eat ghost pepper sauce as a normal barbecue.
That is true. And I am smoking. I just vacuumed the floor.
Sorry.
So yeah, so that's what I'm smoking. The Montecristo Grand Exhibition, because of the World's Fair. That's how they came around. This is a tribute to that, and this is the Batch 23. So instead of the Habano wrap, it's going to have the Connecticut wrap.
That's pretty cool. Never heard of that one before.
And they're all Nicaraguans. Even H. Upman, they used all Nicaraguan fillers. Same as
Romeo.
and Julieta. They did the same thing. They use a Habano on theirs.
Oh, okay.
And again, I haven't tried any of them,
Right.
any of the brands. H. Upman's going to be my next one. I've never really dealt much
never
with
even
them.
heard of
I've
that
smoked one of the oldest cigar companies in the world.
Huh.
And they originated out of the people that started it are German. They were German.
Okay.
And so they're one of the oldest. Now some people will say over the years they're not as good. Their price is still the same, so I don't know because I wasn't smoking them 40 years ago
Right.
and 50 years ago. I smoked one. It was a good cigar.
Yeah.
And then I saw the German heritage with it, and I was like, well, I need to smoke more. And then I found out that was JFK's brand of choice.
Really?
Yeah. What did he smoke? The something petite or whatever.
Yeah.
Because, when he made it to where we couldn't buy Cuban cigars anymore, yeah, he had his staff buy all the Cuban cigars that were available. And so he had he had over 1,000 cigars.
That's funny.
And I don't know how long ago that was before he was assassinated, but he may have had a lot of cigars left over.
Right. I think I actually saw something on like the History Channel about that. His actual cigar collection.
Yeah. Well, it was always it was a prestige thing back in the day,
Right.
I mean, it was like most of your elite citizens smoked cigars.
Oh yeah.
And I like the fact that it's starting to become more mainstream again. We had a big boom back in the 90s, late 90s. And that was probably when I started kind of getting into them a little bit more. And then again, now here we are. There's another big boom that's just finished. So we'll see how it continues. I did a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Go out. And I am pairing it with Snapple. And I know that sounds nasty. It really isn't. It's actually a pretty decent pairing. It really is.
I might try it sometime. Who knows?
My darker cigars have a tendency to overpower the Snapple.
Yeah.
But when I'm not drinking beer or sodas or anything else, because me, I'm a root beer, I'm a cream soda.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have that. But because I'm trying to shy away from the soda, I decided the Snapple, and it's not a bad choice at all.
Yeah.
What do you got going over there?
Well, it is a Montecristo episode today. I'm doing the Montecristo White Series. That's just all it is. White Series. It's got the Dominican and Nicaraguan fillers, Nicaraguan binder, and Ecuador, Connecticut wrapper.
Okay.
It says that you can get flavors of almonds, cream, and baked bread. I don't know. I think I can get some almond in there. But it's like the flavor's not bad. It's a very smooth, mellow cigar. And you know me, I do tend to stick to more of the flavored cigars. I'm more of a new world flavored cigar person. But I like to try other stuff too, so.
Yeah, that's going to be more of a plain Jane kind of cigar.
I've smoked one of these. I've had one.
Okay.
Now two.
Now two. Well, these I'm gonna send you home with one of these to put in your humidor, and I think you'll like this. I used to smoke those Moontrance. Those are infused cigars. The CAO. I've smoked some of the Deadwood. Now those aren't even infused. Those are just the sweet tobacco.
Yeah.
They're not infused cigars. They're just a sweet tobacco.
Yeah, I like the Deadwood stuff.
Deadwood's got good stuff. You're not alone. A lot of people like them.
Girl with no name.
I've gotten now to where those Moontrance cigars, they're a little too sweet for me. Now that I've gotten to where I'm smoking just these regular cigars, it's like, okay, I can't hardly smoke those anymore. In fact, I gave The last ones I had, I gave away because I was like, yeah, I'm not a big fan. And now that we have an indoor place to smoke, in the wintertime, those were perfect.
Right.
And so I now have a box of 50 of the iguana cigars because they were small. And when I'm standing out by a fire after dinner or whatever, if I want to sit out by a fire, I can smoke one of those in 10, 15 minutes and it's done, and I can go in the house. You know, I'm not going to sit outside with a big cigar and sit out there for an hour and a half, 2 hours by a fire.
Especially not last month when it was -10 wind chills.
And now that we have this area that we can smoke inside in a climate-controlled environment, I just don't find myself smoking them little cigars anymore.
Right.
But it's been kind of fun because I've smoked a few more of the mellower cigars again.
Yeah.
And after a while, you get to the point where you just smoke it. And I saw somebody talking about it. You get to the point where almost all cigars start tasting the same. And that was what they were saying was, if you find yourself in that rut, you're probably smoking stronger cigars. Go back to a mild cigar. And that's what they said. They said, get you a Montecristo white.
Yeah.
Get you a Macanudo.
Right.
Hyde Cafe or whatever it's called. Hyde Park Cafe. Get you something like that. The Rocky Patel 99 white label.
Yeah.
Is super mellow.
I got one over here.
The Montecristo yellow, the classic Montecristo.
Yeah.
It's a more mellow cigar, and so I started smoking some more of those. Because that's something I always keep, the Montecristo yellow label. I've either got Churchill or I've got the Toro, one of the two, always in my humidor at all times.
Right.
So I kind of leaned more towards those, and then when I started smoking some of the other more rich cigars that I do smoke, I have like the Ashton aged Maduro, even this Ghost, the Gurkha has the Ghost.
I've always wanted to try some of the Gurkha stuff. Their labels are just so cool.
Labels are fantastic.
Like, you shouldn't buy cigars based off the label, but I'm pretty sure that's why they make them the way they do. Because you just see it, and it's like, oh, it's such a cool label. I gotta try it.
I bought that whole box of CAO flathead cigars simply because they were called Steel Horse. And we do a show called Steel Horse Thunder. I gotta buy a box. Flavor was good. Construction was horrible on them.
Right.
I don't know if I just got a bad box or what. You know, I hate to dog them too much, only because I did like the way the cigar tasted.
Right.
It was just one of those where if you got half the way through, you're throwing it away. And it's no different than anything else. If you had a disgruntled employee that was getting ready to get fired,
right,
they didn't give a crap how to roll that cigar. So I'll give them another try. I'll try a different size maybe and see if I like that better. But
well, we got the new season coming up. Writing season, that is.
Yes, we do.
What kind of plans you got this year?
You know, my main goal this year is to maybe, I want to get some new cameras. You know, we film just about everything off of cell phones.
Right.
I could go buy a GoPro, and I could spend, you know, $700 for a GoPro camera.
Right.
And get the exact same quality as I can get off a cell phone. So I don't, if I want to do, now I have a GoPro. We have one GoPro that I do wear when we're doing rides and we're involved in the ride. I have the chest harness. I can throw the GoPro on there. So we'll always have a GoPro.
Yeah.
But do I need to go buy a new $700 one to film with all the time when I can do the exact same thing off a cell phone? We have apparatuses to put the cell phone in, so you can hold it better. You can do more with it. What I want to do though is I would like to get a better way to film than just a chest. A chest harness for when we're on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
I would like to get, they have the new ones now where you can put it basically shoots all the way around.
Yeah, it's like on a pole that sits behind you, yeah.
So I want to get into that kind of stuff. I want to get some of that. I want to get a drone. I definitely want a drone. I know we can't use it all the time.
No, but it would help for just give an episode a little extra pop here and there.
I agree. And then the other thing is the podcast. I wanna try to see if we can get more people on this podcast. 'Cause
right.
This is what I've been really enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
I have had. It's been so hard for us to do anything because of where we're at in life right now.
Right.
Taking care of parents that need so much care.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard to get away and do anything. Very hard to even get on the motorcycle and be part of the rides. We generally have to go and film, and then we're going back to work.
Right.
So I want to get better. I want to be able to get better shots, better audio, whatever we can do to up that.
Yeah.
And then whatever we can do to get more people involved on the podcast.
Yeah.
Get some cool people. We've had some great podcasts. We really have. And we do everything. Like whether it's you and I talking about the cigars we're smoking,
mm-hmm.
or whether it's bringing somebody else on. We brought, I was going to say Bill and Ted. Bill and Gunner. Bill and Gunner. Great adventure. We brought them in here one time talking father-son
mm-hmm.
stuff. And then we've had a little bit of everything. We had Rupert.
Right.
We had... from A-Bait.
Oh, yeah.
Dear God. This is what happens when you get old.
Yeah.
But we've had, we were able to get to A-Bait and do it there. We mm-hmm. did Anthony Rosano and the Conquerors down in Lexington, Kentucky. We've been fortunate to have some pretty cool people on here.
Yeah.
Shaky talking about drag racing, and which shocked me because I could never picture him in a dress and heels. But he's like, drag racing, get it. But that's what I want to do. I want to get more people on mm-hmm. here, and I do know. I talked with Eric Anderson, Professor Anderson mm-hmm. at Southside Harley Davidson. We're going to get him on the podcast as we get closer to spring. I'd say probably the March.
Yeah.
In March or April, we'll get him on here, talk a little motorcycle safety, have a cigar, and talk cigars, talk motorcycle safety.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
So. I've been working with Michael McCartney, mm-hmm. local musician here in this area, and he's really like they're hitting the ground running. Like they just started their band maybe 2 years ago, maybe year and a half.
And the current lineup,
Cedar Creek,
just last year.
Yeah, just last year. Who they got right now? Cedar Creek has really helped put them on the map. They just had a concert at 8 Seconds. They got another one lined up for 8 Seconds. He's going to be part of the big Morgan County Fair concert that they do every year, where they bring in the big names. So I've been working with him. He just has such a busy schedule trying to get it worked out.
And that's what happens. That's what most people don't understand, that it does. There's a lot involved. There's a lot of moving parts that you got to get everybody.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, between regular job, this job, taking care of parents, in-laws, there's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
And so to kind of get it all put together, it's difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
It is difficult. But I've really enjoyed the podcast. Mm-hmm. And I hope everybody else has, because I've really enjoyed doing this.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a learning adventure.
It has.
On the back end for me, learning all the ins and outs of uploading and getting it to all the platforms mm-hmm. and everything.
Yeah, I just really enjoy it. So yeah, between building the podcast and trying to bring in new sponsors. Right now I'm talking with, while we're talking about cigars, Christoph. Have you tried any of the Christoph cigars?
Right.
Christoph makes some really, really good cigars.
Yeah, they do.
They're here in the Midwest, mm-hmm. They're right up out of Chicago, north side of Chicago. The owner, I know he does ride, or did ride, because mm-hmm. he's got a cigar called the Guardrail.
Right.
I finally tried it. I fell in love with it. Then I found out the backstory was he had a bad motorcycle accident. And that's why he named it the Guardrail.
Okay.
But it's a fantastic cigar. They have one called Vengeance.
Yeah.
And that's the one that I've always smoked. Never tried any of their other cigars. We managed to meet their rep, Kevin, for the Midwest. He was at Gillespie's Cigar Bar. We went up there and hung out with them, talked to them about their cigars. And, you know, he was telling us, we bought, I forget how many, and then you got some free and all that. So that's what we did, and we got quite a few cigars. So I got to try a lot of their different cigars. They have a Sumatra that was fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really good. They had another one, I can't remember all the names of them now, but the Guardrail I absolutely fell in love with. I thought, oh, and this is a motorcycle themed one too.
Right.
It's like, that's what I want. That's what I want, to have a big Christoph sign hanging up back
that'd be
here.
cool.
That's what I really want. Get somebody like that on board. I've been talking with Kevin, the Midwest rep, and we were working on some stuff, and then they just had the big, I forget what it's called, EPC in Vegas. So I know they were set up in Vegas for the big
convention,
cigar convention. And that just happened this past weekend. Yeah. So I haven't heard back since my last email. I haven't heard anything back from them since then. So I'm going to give it another week, and then I'll remind them, hey, you know, because I know that's what they were all focused on was that when you're going out to Vegas and you're setting all this stuff up, you're spending a lot of money. That's what you're focusing on. Yeah. But I would love to get them on board.
It'd be cool if we can get out to Vegas and do a podcast episode from there.
That would be fantastic. Oh, there's a part of me that would love to get you know, we've always talked about doing like a bar, you know, type of thing where we could do our bike nights out of there. We could do our podcast out. We could do everything out of there. And, you know, for me, also have a tobacco license and be able to sell premium cigars and have a, you know, a decent sized humidor with a good selection of cigars in there. That to me, that I would love to be able to mix all that together. Yeah. I think it'd be fantastic.
I did look up Indiana's laws on tobacco licenses and stuff. Oh, yeah? It's not too bad. Now I understand why there's all these shops popping up everywhere.
Yeah, I would enjoy that. Again, I don't think I'm going to make a living off of just selling cigars, but if I could incorporate that into the Steel Horse Thunder Cafe somehow. I like going to motorcycle rides. We go to charity rides all the time. And now it's gotten to the point where I have so many people, when they see me, they're like, hey man, I got you a cigar. And they're handing me a cigar that they want me to try. You know what I mean? This is just regular riders. This is just their own personal stash. They're like, hey man, I got a cigar for you. And I'm like, all right on. So I try to carry some with me now. Yeah. And that's why I'd love to I was doing the Steel Horse cigars for a while. And now it's like the Guardrail. It's like, well shoot, I'd love to get that from Christoph and be able to have some of those with me. And when somebody says, hey man, I got a cigar for you, I can turn around and say, hey, I got one for you. Give this a try, man. They're fantastic.
That would be pretty cool.
As opposed to giving them a Steel Horse cigar and saying, hey, enjoy the first half, and then after that, just throw the damn thing away. Smoke half of it and enjoy it. That's it. That's all you get. And what about you as far as this new season? What is it you need? Do you need more editing equipment? Do you need, I mean, because I don't know anything about any of that stuff. Right. You know, is there something that you're like, man, if we could bump up to this editing software as opposed to what we're using now, boy, we could really do a lot more, or...
Well, unfortunately, the software I use just had to do an update, and now it's doing your favorite word. It keeps glitching. So...
No such thing as a glitch. There's a cigar called the Glitch.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
We have to try it.
I can't remember who makes it. I think it's is it Blackbird? I can't remember who makes that one now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there is one actually called the
quick.
Glitch, and I was like, dear God, I gotta buy that just so I can. Every time you tell me there's something glitching, I can smoke that.
No results found.
For the Glitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember who makes it now. But
Nope.
there
At
is
least
one
not
out
on
there.
Thompson.
Yeah, there is one out there that's called
funny.
the Glitch.
So yeah, I'm looking around for different editing software. I mean, the one I use isn't bad. It was just one of those where part of it was already installed on the computer, so I just got the pro version of it. Mm-hmm. And it does what I need it to do, but I know there's other stuff out there that's much more refined and easier to use than what I'm doing.
Well, and that's what we want. We want to be able to do it. Something that we can, we all got to work our regular jobs.
Right. For me, the biggest thing is I just need to get like an actual computer instead of trying to do it all off of a laptop. That would probably help. But
yeah, well, again, I don't do anything on. I do Facebook,
right,
and that's only on a desktop computer because I don't have a laptop. I don't have Facebook on my phone. I don't have any of that stuff on my phone. So
right.
We were able to upgrade last year. We've got a good phone that's strictly a Steel Horse phone now. So we were able to do that. We were able to buy a couple more microphones. So we've got some decent audio equipment now. Again, video, yes, I could go out and spend thousands of dollars on cameras that are going to give me the exact same quality as what my cell phone gives me.
Right.
And I don't understand that. It was hard for me at first.
Yeah.
Going with a production company that has the big camera.
Right.
You look like a bigger deal that way.
Yeah.
Somebody sees you coming up and you're filming off a cell phone, and they're like, "Oh, film off a cell phone?" And it's like, yeah. In fact, the last 2 years we were filming with a production company, we were using our cell phones a bunch.
Right.
Because that's what we got better video footage off a cell phone than you do off of a big camera.
And a lot of people are coming around now and realizing that most people are filming off of cell phones or smaller cameras. Because you can use just a regular, I mean, they're expensive. Like, I know Nikon and a couple other make it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a still photography camera, Canon, but it does video as well. And I've used those when I was working with a company in Indy, doing little jobs here and there, doing video stuff. I'm like, I thought we were recording this. He's like, yeah, it's got a video function on it. It's like, wow, this has amazing quality. So it takes some getting used to, not seeing, like the big news camera equipment and all that kind of stuff. But, and again, I mean, the only shot that we lose using a cell phone is if you have a long straightaway on a ride and a bunch of bikes, you don't get that slow zoom to follow the bikes out.
Right.
Basically, that's the only shot we lose by using a cell phone. Everything else is as good or sometimes better quality.
And I think by adding a drone periodically or whatever to make up for some of that. I'd also like to, like I said, I want to get. They have those. What is it called? A gimbal or whatever, to where I can do a lot of my own filming that way, and it keeps everything. I mean, this is stuff that a lot of people use now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Nowadays, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Back several years ago, people were shocked at it.
Yes.
Whereas now that shock is gone, and everybody realizes it's just like us leaving TV.
Yeah.
It's like, so you can't make it. Oh no, we can still be on TV. I chose to leave TV.
Right.
Not they didn't kick us off by any means. They were a little bummed out that we were leaving.
Right.
But it was like,
it's a dying breed.
And for me, that was hard. It was like, well, I don't want to be a YouTuber. I want to have a TV show. I've had a TV show all these years. I want to keep a TV show. And then it was just, now I don't even think about that anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That thought doesn't even enter my mind. It's like, God, we got a much bigger audience now, and everything
Right.
else. It's like, no, I wish I would have done it when you guys first told me to. I wish I would have left then.
That's all right.
So how's your burger?
It's good. I know the last time I smoked this one, it was one that I could smoke really far down.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's just because it's not strong, so it's not building quite as much up inside there as you're smoking it down. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to find another cigar that's that smooth.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't really have much flavor at all to it. It's just there. Mm-hmm. It's just a calm, smooth, mellow cigar.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of talking about with my normal go-tos. Mm-hmm. If somebody said, well, if you had to pick, because again, I smoke different cigars all the time.
Right.
When I go to a cigar shop, I'm always buying different cigars. I like to buy cigars I've never had. Mm-hmm. And then generally one or two that if I'm going to go somewhere and I know I'm going to buy 4, 5, 6 cigars, I want to get, if I'm buying 6 cigars, I'm buying 4 that I've never had before.
Right.
And then 2 of ones that I know I like that I can't find locally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like when I'm up in Greenwood and I've got a couple big cigar shops I can go to, plus a pretty good sized humidor inside Total Wine.
Yes.
So, I got 3 places and they're all within just a few miles of each other.
Right.
I'm going to find a lot of stuff there that I won't find here.
Yeah.
Now, if I can go to Gillespie's, they've got a great selection.
They do carry a good selection there.
Unfortunately, their hours don't work with my schedule, so I'm hardly ever able to go in there because my schedule when my schedule allows me to go in there, they're closed.
Right.
When they're open, I can't get in there.
Yeah.
And it's a nicer place. And so therefore, if I'm going to go into a local smoke shop that we have here in Martinsville that has a humidor in there, they don't have a huge selection.
Right.
They have a pretty good selection, but then after that, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So every time you go in there, you know what they're going to have.
Yeah, they don't change their selection.
Very rarely does it change up.
Yeah.
And whereas I go up to Greenwood, it's like, there's certain things. Carrillo that has the EPC cigars, they have that Encore that, my God, it is fantastic.
Yeah.
So certain cigars like that, the Rocky Patel Disciple, I love that. It's the San Andreas. It's something about that San Andreas wrapper I fall in love with. That Ghost right there, that Gurkha Ghost. San Andreas wrapper, man. It's just a dark black wrapper. And there's just something about that that I just absolutely love. That's been my new thing. This year, 2024, it was like San Andreas just became my thing. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah. And
you do get big notes. Those I can tell certain that, you're going to get that dark chocolate or you're going to get that real coffee.
Right.
And I don't drink coffee, but I know I smell it. And I know you get that where you're tasting what coffee smells like.
Right.
If that makes any sense. Yeah. Because I love the smell of coffee.
Yeah.
I hate the taste of it.
I love the taste of it.
But in a cigar, I love that coffee flavor that you get in there. And some of them that have the black cherry almost in there. Mm-hmm. I drink a black cherry soda a lot of times when I'm smoking like my Brasilia cigars.
Yeah.
Brasilia wrappers are the other one. A Brazilian wrapper or a San Andreas wrapper, you pretty much got me. I'm going to try. Whatever you got, it's Brazilian wrapper, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
But that's what I was going to say. People, when they say, what's your go-to? That CAO Brasilia is a fantastic cigar.
So I know you smoke that one quite a lot.
And the Alec Bradley has the Magic Toast. And those two right there, I can promise you I will always have at least 10 of each of those in my humidor all the time.
Yeah.
Because they're cheaper. They're not as expensive.
Right.
Now again, they're not cheap, but I can usually find those on special somewhere.
Yeah.
And if not, the place I buy here in town locally, they sell the Magic Toast. And what they sell it for is the same price it would cost me if I bought it online.
Huh.
So I don't mind going in there and buying a couple sticks at one time.
Yeah.
And so I always have 8 to 10 of those in my humidor all the time because they're one of my absolute favorites.
See, I like the Magic Toast.
And
for me, it's a strong cigar.
well, it is a strong
do
cigar.
Pretty much all my cigars are more mellow. But that one, like if we're having, watching a game or something, and we got a cookout, food and drinking and stuff, I can drink them or drink. I can smoke the Magic Toast pretty well then. Now on an empty stomach, no. it's a bit too strong for that.
Stronger cigars. See, and that's the problem with the Christoph. I don't have anywhere local I can buy them.
Right.
So those are ones I have to buy them when if I go to Greenwood or whatever, get into a big place,
a big market,
then I can get them. Now they sell them up at Gillespie's, up on the square. But like I said, I can't hardly ever get in there.
Right.
And fortunately, we do a lot of filming up in Indianapolis, so there's a lot of times on a Saturday or a Sunday if we're up there filming, we can always stop by one of those cigar shops.
I know one of these times I got to go in and try that. The one you keep telling me about, it's got the massive humidor. You walk around the corner and all that.
Pipe puffers, man. Pipe puffers in Greenwood, man. Right on County Line Road. I think originally they were in the mall. Now they're across the street from the mall.
Okay.
Greenwood. It's Greenwood Park Mall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right there on County Line Road. So they're across the street from the mall. And they do have a very nice big walk-in humidor.
I was going to go in there around Christmas time when we were Christmas shopping, and I saw it. I saw the sign, and I was like, oh, I didn't know there was a shop right there, but we never made it. I'd already spent too much money.
Right. Yeah, well, that's where I spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
I go into it because, again, you're paying single stick prices, you know what I mean? And when I'm used to buying my stuff online, I'm buying bulk. That's why I do buy boxes. I generally don't buy boxes. Generally, I buy 5-packs. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've got a 5... Oh, dude. I have AJ Fernandez is another one of my favorites. Yeah. And he has a tendency, you're going to get a spicy cigar with AJ Fernandez. Yeah. You know what I mean? He that's the Encore is an AJ. Yeah. Or no, that's EPC. The New World, all the New World ones are that are AJ Fernandez. And then he's blending stuff for everybody anymore. It's weird. It's just like this cigar right here. Even though it's a Montecristo, one of the oldest names in the book, it's actually manufactured. This one here is actually rolled and put together at the Plasencia factory in Esteli, Nicaragua.
Really?
So Plasencia is the one that's actually doing this, which explains why it's always a perfect draw, always a perfect burn. I haven't touched this up at all. It's getting a little wonky now since I dumped the ash, but not much.
My humidor for the non-flavored, my non-flavored cigars burn perfect every single time. And it's just a jar. Because I smoke more flavored. So my coolador is my flavored cigars, and then my jar has all my non-flavored stuff. Right. That way they don't mix. And the jar works perfect.
I still have one sitting right at a site over here. It was my original humidor. Put that jar together and back then I didn't even know about the Boveda packs.
Right.
So I just used a salt shaker with a sponge in it. I have reverse osmosis water. I use that because you have to have distilled water. Well, I put a little hygrometer thing in there so I could make sure I could keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Periodically, there was times I'd have to take the lid off and let it, dry up a little bit.
Right.
Or I'd take a piece of tape, and I put it over the holes of the salt shaker is what I used to do.
Yeah.
Now that once I learned about Boveda packs, it was like, well, shoot. I mean, where have these been all my life? How have I never heard of these? But again, I didn't really get into cigars like I do now just a couple of years ago. And so yeah, once I learned about Boveda packs, now I throw one of those packs in there, and
That's funny.
every 6 months you just throw another one in there. The humidity stays perfect.
Yeah.
I don't ever complain about my jar humidity.
Right.
Now mine is just the opposite. I've got all my flavored cigars are in the jar.
Right.
And my other regular cooladors, they all have, all my other cigars.
Yeah. Traditional. I guess they wouldn't be non-flavored. They're traditional cigars.
But I just got a fantastic deal. I'm talking 35 cigars.
That's when you were telling me about it, was it? Yeah.
35. So they're all in 5. So you get
Yes.
5 packs. But I'm getting 35 cigars total.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting 7 5-packs for $119.
It's not bad.
They're all AJ Fernandez stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I've got a couple different Diesel cigars in that pack.
Mm-hmm.
I have got, oh gosh, I can't even remember now all the different ones. And all of them, there was only one that was a Robusto, a 5-inch.
Yes.
Because a lot of times that's what happens. You
Right.
get a lot of short, small cigars.
Yeah.
After that, I think another one's 5.5, and then they're all 6 and 7. One of them's a Churchill 7-inch cigar. The other ones are Toros, Bellicostas. And it was just like, oh my gosh. 2 of them are Ava Marias. Two different Ava Marias that are coming in.
Yeah, because I saw the Divina on there, and I really want to try the Divina.
That's the one I've never tried. And I was like, oh. Because the other one I've smoked, because you've had a lot of those.
The Argentum.
The Argentum, which is a dark cigar.
I think I got 3 of those left.
Those are really good.
I thought about trying it today, but I haven't ate a whole lot of food today. And I know that one's going to get me.
That one, to me, the Argentum is very similar to like this Ashton Aged Maduro.
Okay.
Or even AJ Fernandez does a cigar called Last Call.
Yes.
And they're kind of smaller cigars.
Mm-hmm.
But that one, and that's similar to what that Argentum is. It's going to have that. It almost, you'll get that oakiness only because it's a very dry.
Yeah.
That dry, oaky, charred, oaky stuff. You kind of get that with that cigar.
Right.
I've smoked several of them from you.
Yeah.
I bummed a couple of them off of you, and they're fantastic. So, and then the regular one, the regular Ave Maria.
Yeah.
I've smoked those before, and those are great.
Yeah, those ones were good.
So I'm going to have the regular, 5 of those. I'm going to have 5 of those Divinas, 5 one type of diesels, another 5 of another diesel.
Man of War. I think there's a Man of War in that collection.
2 Man
as
of
well.
Wars.
2 of them? Okay.
Yes.
I thought Ruination and... I can't think of the other one. Oh, that's a nice one.
I couldn't think of the name, but I remember seeing the...
Yes. The Trojan logo thingy on it. Yeah. Yeah, the Man of War is a good cigar.
Oh, yeah.
They make good ones.
And again, I've gotten that from you before. So, yeah, I'm super excited.
Back in my days when I could buy stuff online. I ain't got no money right now.
So, yeah, I've got that big-ass pack coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, I found a box again. I never bought boxes, but here lately, that's the deals I've been getting.
Yeah.
It's been, again, this box, like I said, right now it's the same price as what the 5-pack would cost me right now. Is what I got an entire box of 20 of these. I bought the Knuckle Sandwich, which is Guy Fieri and Eric Espinoza. And he's got a Connecticut, he's got the Maduro, and then he came out with the Habana, or the Habano wrap.
Yeah.
And so they had the Habano wrap one, and it's a double Corona, so it's a skinnier cigar. Like this is a 50, I think that's like a 48, but it's still 6 inches long. It's a skinnier ring gauge. The thinner the ring gauge, the more you get out of that wrapper leaf.
Right.
The bigger, the more filler.
Yeah.
Then you're getting a little more of a blend. Whereas the skinnier the cigar is, you taste a lot more of that wrapper leaf.
Yes.
And I do like a Habano leaf. That one, I got that dirt cheap. The guy at the brick and mortar store, he's like, dear God, I can't get them that cheap. He said, I wish. I don't get them anywhere close to being that cheap. I was like, dude, I don't know how it happened, but it happened.
Yeah.
And I bought it, by golly. And so I bought another one, and there was another box of cigars that I bought, Toronto. And again, they're not a major. It's not like it's a $300 box, box for $300 that I'm getting for, $60, but it's still a pretty good saving. So it was like, and I've been wanting to try their cigars, so I was like, I'll buy a box of those too. So, yeah, I got a bunch of cigars coming in Saturday. I'm excited.
Sounds like we're gonna have to start doing some raffles.
We're gonna have a smoke off this weekend.
Right.
Man. Super Bowl.
Yeah, nobody wants to watch.
That nobody wants to watch. Who do you want to see in the Super Bowl?
The Lions and the Bills.
I was gonna say, besides saying anybody but the two teams that are there.
I saw a post somebody put out, and they're like, "Look, we get it. You want Kansas City to get the three-peat. That way history's made. But can we have an undercard game and have the Lions and Bills play at 2 p.m.? I was like, ooh.
Great.
I mean, every fight always has, 2 or 3 undercard fights before the main event. So why not have, maybe a 2-quarter...
I was just about to say,
instead of a full game, just
yes.
a half a game undercard match between the top 2 losing teams.
Dude, that's brilliant.
The NFL will probably make a lot of money off it.
That is absolutely brilliant.
What's
like
his name?
Said.
What's his face? What's his name? Hey, Roger.
That would actually be a fantastic... and now that they're kind of working with is it the UFL now? What is the official name of the new one? The Spring League.
UFSL, I think is what it is. That might actually be the soccer league.
Why not have a couple of those teams show up and do like you said, just play 2 quarters.
Yeah.
Just play 2 quarters of football and let everybody see, hey, this is the other football league.
Yeah.
And when you see that they're actually pretty darn good and pretty exciting
to watch.
Maybe people will be like, hey, we need to tune into that. Oh my gosh, we've got great ideas.
We do. This is what happens when we go 2 months without doing a podcast together.
$1 million ideas right there.
Yeah, you have that that league and have the first undercard match. Then you'd have the top 2 losing NFL teams do their undercard match that leads up to the Super Bowl.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, who would it be? It would be Washington, the Redskins.
Commanders.
The Redskins.
It'd be Washington and
Redskins
and Buffalo.
And Buffalo, yeah.
Yeah.
Be a heck of a game. I'd much rather watch that.
That'd be the game everybody would want to watch.
I'd much rather watch that than to watch friggin' Kansas City and Philadelphia again. It's like, dear God. I've said it before.
And it sucks because I used to like Kansas City. I did.
Yeah, I did too. I'm just tired of the whole... you know what I'm tired of? Travis Kelce. Mahomes, he irritates the crap out of me.
He's exciting to watch.
He's very fun to watch. He is very exciting to watch. Mm-hmm. He's a great quarterback. Fantastic quarterback. But I get a little tired of his flop out of bounds. They get every call. That's what everybody's griping about anymore. The last couple of years. Dear God, they wouldn't have even been in the playoffs had they lost all the games they should have lost without the calls, without the help of referees. There was multiple games they would have lost. Here's a little fun fact.
Oh, man.
Since Mahomes has been quarterback at Kansas City, do you know there's only one team that he's played that he's never been able to beat?
In the regular season. He's never been able to beat him in the regular season. And that would be our horrible Indianapolis Colts. Somehow, the team he can't beat happens to be the Indianapolis Colts.
Didn't we beat them the year we had Matt Ryan and we were just absolutely horrible?
Yes.
Won 3 games all year and one of them was against Kansas City. Yep. It's just hilarious. It's kind of the silver lining. You know what I mean? It's like, well, one thing we can say. Yeah. I didn't think we ever faced Mahomes in the playoffs.
For some reason, I was thinking there was one season that we played him in the playoffs.
Well, if I was talking to somebody else right now, I'd be having Cameraman Wes looking that information up.
Right. So I was trying to think of how Mahomes has been in for 6 years?
It's been a while now. Long enough to get his
I
ass
was
kicked by Tom Brady.
I was thinking the last year we had luck that we went to the playoffs. We actually lost to him in the playoffs.
I don't know.
But I don't remember completely.
The only one I remember with luck at Kansas City is when he won the game for us and picked up that fumble and went over the line and scored the touchdown. That was a massive comeback.
I miss Luck.
He was the one. You know me. I couldn't stand Peyton Manning.
Right.
To me, Peyton Manning was the biggest crybaby and whine bag.
Right.
Again, just like Mahomes.
Yeah.
Got all the calls.
Mm-hmm.
If you farted near Peyton,
Peyton,
unnecessary roughness. You know what I mean? You barely touch Peyton Manning, and there's a flag coming.
I mean, it worked for us since we're
Indianapolis
fans.
I just couldn't stand Peyton Manning. I just never have been a fan of his. Great quarterback. Just never cared for him. Then Andrew Luck came along. Wasn't quite as refined as Peyton Manning, but it was like, I'll stand behind this cat.
Yes.
Every game. I don't care what our record ends up. I am standing behind this cat right here.
He was our Brett Favre.
He was amazing.
He loved the game, and he made sure everybody knew it every Sunday.
Yeah, he was fantastic. And then it's just been...
Our poor Colts.
It's been horrible ever since, man.
I hope something turns around. I mean, getting a new defensive scheme should help somewhat. But
I think so.
There's a lot of other issues that need fixed that I don't see us really getting anywhere until those are settled.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Richardson is going to be the biggest. Can he actually become a quarterback? Nobody knows.
Can he stay healthy and can he
finished 2 years now, and he still hasn't played. I think it's 15 games is all he's played in 2 years. That's not even a full season yet.
Right.
He still hasn't gotten one full season under his belt, and he's going to be starting year 3.
I like him, and he's exciting to watch.
Very fun to watch.
Just hopefully that mentality part catches up next season.
Yeah, and again, I think he's a guy we could get behind.
Right.
But I think everybody knew that. He only played 10 games before he became a pro. So it's like, all right, well, he has absolutely zero experience. So, could you imagine if when you started your new job?
Yeah.
Which, whatever, 5 years ago, whenever it was.
Right.
But could you imagine if nobody would have, said, hey, have you drove a truck before? Yeah. All right. You ever eaten any Lay's potato chips? Yeah. All right. Here you go.
Right.
Here's the keys. Here's the stores you need to go to. Take care of it. You wouldn't be able to do it.
No.
So, I mean, it's just like, anything else. This guy's going to need a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then, but again, I enjoy watching him when he is playing. And there's been games he has, even as horrible as he is, we've scored 30 plus points and still lost the game.
Yeah.
If you're scoring 30 plus points, you're supposed to win those games. Yeah. You're not supposed to lose them. No. And it's like, all right. Again, we've talked about it multiple times. All the years we fell apart at the end of a season, we blamed it on our quarterback every time.
Right.
And every time it was our defense that let us down.
Yep.
Every time. It's our defense that needs fixing badly. And thank God Bradley's gone.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll get turned around. It'd be nice. It's very hard, especially for somebody at my age. You actually remember the Colts coming to Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. So you got to see the first however many years where they didn't care how many games they lost. They were just there to make money. Mm-hmm. Before they wanted to actually create a team. For me, once I became a teenager, that's when Peyton came in.
Right.
So my real experience of the Colts is the first the 10 years of the 2000s, and they were the best team in NFL history. Mm-hmm. So it's like, now it's like, really? I mean,
our whole run, even after Peyton, and we got Andrew Luck. I mean, Andrew Luck brought us in every year. He brought us deeper into the playoffs every year, and it was like, until he got injured.
Yeah. Well, for the final time, he couldn't come back for that one. But
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, you've always known the Colts as being a great team.
Right.
I always knew them as being a horrible
Right.
team. You know, it's kind of like the Braves. The whole time I lived in Atlanta,
yeah,
Braves sucked. I mean, sucked. We used to pay $3, sit anywhere in the stadium you want. You go to watch any baseball game you wanted.
yeah,
And you sit wherever you wanted because nobody was there. Same with the Falcons, you know, for the most part. You know, the Falcons didn't do anything. They had the late 70s. They had a couple of good years with Steve Bartkowski at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, I can remember going there and getting free tickets because nobody was going to be there and sitting there on a Monday night game.
Right.
And, you know, 2,000 people being in the stadium. It's like, wow.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah, we kind of got spoiled, and
Mm-hmm.
let's face it, as bad as we've been, we still barely missed the playoffs the
Right.
last several years.
Yeah.
For several years in a row now.
With a different quarterback every year, and we just missed the playoffs
Yeah.
each year.
So, I mean, we're not that bad. You know what I mean? We're not.
Right. And that's a
We've
hard
been
thing.
worse.
That's a hard thing for Colts fans, I think, because we were so good for so
Mm-hmm.
long that even though we're right at the cusp of being a good team, we just look horrible to us because this is not what we're used to.
When you have guys like Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, and Dallas Clark catching
Right.
the ball,
Yeah.
you don't have to say anything else.
No.
You mentioned those three names with Peyton Manning throwing it.
Yeah.
It's like, dear God. These guys aren't going to be able to match up to that. And I'm sorry, I like Pittman.
Oh, yeah.
And he's gotten much better. He
Yes.
used to drop a bunch. He's gotten much better.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that A.D. Mitchell, he's dropped most of the
Oh,
balls
yeah.
that come his way, he drops. Pierce was that way. This year, he made a
He really stepped up this year.
huge step up this year. You
Yeah.
know, Josh Downs is a machine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think he dropped one that last game,
Yeah, I think so.
which was just, oh my God, he dropped a pass.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, you know, because they all do on occasion. I've
Oh, yeah.
seen Marvin Harrison drop passes.
Mhm.
I can remember you and me being in Atlanta on
Thanksgiving. Yep.
Thanksgiving game in Atlanta, watching the game
Yep.
at the stadium. I'm on the phone talking to somebody back here in
I
Indiana,
forgot about that.
and I'm like, yeah, we're at the game right now. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And then like, yeah, we're watching it. I was like, all right. I was like, oh. And Manning launches one. Harrison's got his man beat down the sideline. Perfect pass right into the end zone.
Yep.
And it goes right through his hands.
Yep.
Marvin Harrison right through his hands. And he had absolutely blown by his defender. And we're going, ah. They're like, oh, we've got a little delay here. I said, well, don't get excited. So, I mean, they all drop.
Oh, yeah.
So when you see that, that's how you know it when it's a good player. When all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I can't
Right.
believe he dropped that pass.
Yeah.
It happens to the best of them.
Mm-hmm.
A.D. Mitchell, I had big hopes for him, and he just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Alec Pierce, I've always been a fan of his, but I was this past season, I was like, we're probably going to have to get rid of this guy. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh my God, lights out. Now you may call him a one-trick pony because every time he catches the ball, it's always a
50 yards down the field, jumping for it.
He led the NFL
Yes.
with yards after the yards per catch,
Yes.
per reception. He led the NFL by a landslide. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think he was averaging like 29 yards,
Something
30
crazy.
yards a catch.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, how did we get on football?
I have no idea. How's your cigar?
Cigar is good. They're slow burning cigars.
It is a very slow burning cigar.
You know, at first I was talking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I let it go out and all that, but
It's the downside of the bigger labels on them.
this one was a little tight. Even because this has a these cigars actually I should have waited till we went on air, but they have a little footband on them as well. And the footband was hard for me. Every other one I've been able to slide right off. These bands have come right off.
Yeah.
But this one here, the footband was hard to get off of it. And I put a Bovida pack inside the box itself, and the box is in a humidor.
Yeah.
But I put one of those small ones that you get sometimes when you buy them online. I threw that in there just to make sure it had some, and so it obviously is swelled up a little bit more, so it wasn't as loose. So yeah, it was a little tougher to undo. This is a cigar again. I will be holding this by the time I'm done. I'll be holding it right at the end, trying to get one more. And I'll finally put it down, and then it'll still be burning. So I'll pick it back up, and I'll hit it one more time. These are cigars that I can smoke all the way down to the very end.
Yeah.
There's cigars I like that I won't do that with.
Right.
My Mark Twain's. I will not smoke that cigar down to where I'm holding it where it's trying to burn me because it's so small. That won't ever happen with that cigar.
Right.
This one here, for sure. Those knuckle sandwiches, man. The Guy Fieri's cigar, he's a big time cigar smoker himself.
Yeah.
So when he got into it, he didn't want to just throw his name on something. He said, I want to blend it. Yeah. So he actually blended, and now he uses Eric Espinosa.
Right.
But the two of them work together to decide what blend they want to make and everything else. So, I mean, he's very involved in it. And just like everything else he does it all the way or he doesn't do it at all.
Yeah.
And, but those knuckle sandwiches with the Habano wrapper, it's going to have a little spice to it. Fantastic cigars.
I know a lot of the cigars I tend to go to have a Sumatra wrapper on them.
Sumatra wrappers are good too.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, a lot of your, what is it? Well, I know Padron uses some Sumatra wrappers.
Yeah.
My father. That's what I was thinking. My father. They use a lot of Sumatra wrappers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good. I mean, I love all the different wrappers.
Right.
I really do. And there's a time and place for all of them.
Oh yeah.
Even the Connecticut shade. You get like that's what that is there. That Ecuadorian. That's a shade wrapper. Which is going to be a mellower. If they're grown in the sun.
Yeah.
They're going to be a little stronger. If they're grown in the shade, they're going to be mellower. So when you see that shade, Connecticut shade wrapper, it's going to be a mellow.
Right.
There's not going to be a lot of spice on it and everything else.
I'd like to talk to somebody so they can explain to the listeners, the difference. It's like a Connecticut shade. So it's like, do they actually build things over the field to shade it, or is it just they come from a spot where there's tree line around, so there's more shade?
And the answer to that is actually yes.
To both of those? Okay.
Yes, there are places where they can grow it where there's certain regions that just don't get any sunshine. It stays cloud cover all the time, and they can grow it there. Other regions they actually use shade cloth over them to keep them out of the sun.
Interesting.
But yes, I would love to get Kevin from Christoph to be able to sit here and do a podcast with us where we can talk about that exactly.
Right.
I know when I look at cigars, the wrappers I have a tendency to go with. I love a Brazilian wrapper, love the San Andreas wrapper. Those are my two big ones, and the Habano was before that.
Yeah.
The Sumatra, you know who does Sumatra? The Buffalo Trace.
That's right.
Buffalo Trace cigars, which I liked those too. Did I think they were over the edge, the greatest cigar in the world? No. But they were a good cigar at a decent price. Back in the day, I was buying them for $6-7 a stick.
Right.
I thought it was a fantastic cigar for that price. But those were all Sumatra.
I just know the Sumatra tends to give off a strong caramel note. I can pick up the caramel from the Sumatra.
You do get a good sweetness out of them. And but yeah, then I like the broadleaf. You get a good broadleaf wrapper. That's going to be dark and it's going to be strong. And it's going to be, there's a few of those cigars from Christoph. They have the pissed off Christoph.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of them, but they are strong cigars.
Yeah.
And they're the same way. I mean, I smoked one of them. I can't remember which one I just smoked not too long ago. And I was like, well, I mean, it's strong, but it's got great flavor and everything else. It's like, it doesn't seem that much stronger than a lot of the other ones I smoke. But when I was done smoking it was like, dang, I actually got a little bit of a buzz going right now. Yeah. I can't remember which one it was now that I smoked.
And there's a... didn't you find one that had an African wrapper?
Well, there are some that have African Cameroon.
Cameroon, that's what it was, Cameroon.
The African Cameroon, and they're hard to find because most people use the seed, African Cameroon seed, and grow it in Ecuador or grow it, in Honduras or whatever. But yeah, when you actually buy one, most of your Arturo Fuentes, they use a lot of Cameroon wraps. And those are actually going to be from Africa.
Okay.
And if you can get one of those, they're good. I do like a Cameroon wrapper. They're a little more delicate. Seems like that Cameroon leaf is a little thinner leaf or whatever. It's one where if you were to have it in, say we're here in Indiana, summertime, and you've got your Cameroon wrapped cigar in a humidor that's running 65% humidity.
Yeah.
You take it out. Say for whatever reason your humidity drops low. Mine has a tendency, one of my humidors has a tendency to drop down to about 60.
Yeah.
And it'll run around 60. Doesn't hurt the cigar at all.
Right.
Unless you take that out and you walk outside where it's 100% humidity and you light that cigar up, it's probably going to crack like crazy on you. Or vice versa. You have it in that humidor and you have it at 70% humidity. You walk out in the wintertime when there's zero humidity, same thing. You're gonna find that those are probably gonna explode on you.
That's crazy.
And Cameroon wrapper is just a little more delicate. A broadleaf wrapper is a lot thicker. It's gonna be able to withstand some of that a little bit better. That's just my little bit of knowledge. I want to get somebody down here that can sit and tell us exactly.
I thought it was out.
I thought it was going to drop the ash on the floor, which I guess doesn't matter. I got to clean up now anyway.
Hey, I only did it once.
Not twice?
Not twice.
So, overall, if somebody's never smoked a cigar before, and say they're, I know I have a tendency to kind of lean them more towards an infused cigar or a sweeter, like we were talking about the Deadwood selections are a much sweeter cigar. Some have your sweet caps on the end, and but if I'm going to send them to just a regular plain old cigar,
if you want a traditional cigar to start out, definitely. I know the Rocky Patel 99. These are very similar cigars. The Montecristo White Series. It's a very easy smoke. It doesn't give you that weird, bitter after flavor, in your mouth and all that. It's just a very clean cigar. That one, I honestly, it went good with the cream soda that I had, but that would be I've never done it yet in the morning, but that would go great with coffee.
Coffee?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would bring out the almond or the baked bread kind of notes in it if you had something like a warm drink like that.
And that does make a big difference.
Yeah.
What you're drinking. It really does. Because when I was doing the whole no soda, no beer, I was just drinking water.
Right.
And smoking cigars with just water, it had to be a really, really good cigar.
Right.
Otherwise, it was like, it's just nasty. You know what I'm saying? It was like halfway through a cigar, I'm like, all right, well, I'm done. So what you pair them with does make a huge difference. Like I said, I always just drank beer. So most of the time when I'm having a cigar, if we're outside somewhere, I'm usually drinking beer outside, and and I'll have a light beer or whatever, and just smoke whatever cigar I'm smoking.
Yeah.
But even drinking a light beer is better than drinking water.
Yeah.
But when you can get into a cream soda or a root beer, Or like I said, I like those Brasilia cigars with that Brazilian wrapper, and it's a nice dark. It's a kind of a heavy cigar.
Right.
With black cherry soda. It's unfreaking believable. I always said the Brazilian cigars. Those are my favorite to when we have our blackberries.
Yeah.
Are in bloom. When our blackberries trellis is full of blackberries, I'll light up one of those Brazilias and I'll walk over there and I'll take some blackberries off the thing. And we got big blackberries. Take a couple of those off and eat them while I'm smoking that cigar. Oh my God, it's so good together. So good together. Water? Not so much.
Not so much.
Well, you about ready to wrap things up here?
I guess so. I need to refill my lighter because it went out.
Well,
there's stuff in there, but it didn't light.
We'll get her filled up here before you leave for sure. Yeah. I know the sodas and the Snapples are about out.
Sodas and Snapples.
One of these we're going to do later in the evening.
Yeah.
And then we can have, I'll drink some of my whiskey. I don't drink a whole lot of whiskey.
Right.
But what I do like, and again, this is just like, people will talk about, oh, you smoke infused cigars. Oh, so you don't smoke real cigars.
Right.
Okay. That's how I am with whiskey.
Yeah.
You know what I like? Old Smoky, salted caramel whiskey.
Right.
You give me the salted caramel whiskey, and I'll pour a cup of that, and I'll sip on that while I'm smoking a cigar. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
What did we try the other day? Basil Hayden.
Yeah.
That everybody loved so much. That Basil Hayden. Oh, that's good. That's good. I poured some of that in the cup, and it was like two drinks of that. I was like, dear God, I'm throwing this away.
Right.
This is horrible. Give me a Snapple.
I'm sure it's good. If you've worked your way up to that, to me, it's almost like some of those get to where it's like a wine. You start with your dessert wines, your sweet wines, and you move your way over to dry wines. Mm-hmm. And I think some of the whiskeys are that same way, where some of the whiskeys are just very dry.
Yeah.
And I can't do them. I'm not that big of a whiskey person. I like rum.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and most of my, if I'm going to drink it straight, then it's probably going to be whiskey. I don't drink rum. I like rum and Dr. Pepper. I love.
Right.
And I'll drink other mixed drinks, but if I'm drinking it straight, it's generally going to be a whiskey, a bourbon,
right?
Even a Scotch. Mm-hmm. What I'd like to try is a little cognac.
Because
that's more made by grapes, and it's going to be more of a brandy kind of.
Right.
I like, when it comes to wine, I'm not a big wine drinker, but I do like a good port.
Yeah.
Port wine tastes like brandy. You know what I mean? It's
right.
That I can handle. So I want to try to get a couple good cognacs that I can try on. But again, just like some people say, oh, you're not smoking a real cigar, it's infused, or oh, it's got a sweet cap on it, la la la. I don't care.
Right.
It's a premium. It's still a premium cigar. Mm-hmm. It's a real cigar. It's a real premium cigar. If that's what you prefer, that's what you prefer.
Right.
That salted caramel whiskey is still a real whiskey.
Yep.
It may not be what the tough guys are drinking, but
right.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
And if it tastes good to me, I don't really care what anybody else thinks. I'm going to pour some of that.
That's why there's every option under the sun with drinks, because everybody likes something different.
Yep. Kind of like motorcycles.
Yeah.
And that's why Harley Davidson has a bazillion different kind of motorcycles out there, because not everybody wants a bagger, not everybody wants a chopper, not everybody wants a Sportster, not everybody wants a Dyna. Well, nobody wants them anymore because they don't have them. So, all right, man. Well, let's call it a night and or a day, and why don't we do this again next month, the beginning of March? We'll get another one going. What do you think?
Sounds good.
I got a bunch of cigars I got to smoke, so we gotta
we gotta smoke them.
We gotta figure out what we're gonna smoke. So. Yeah. All right, man. Well, Wes, thanks for stopping by here.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the work you do on the show, all the stuff behind the scenes,
no problem.
All the editing, all the contacts that you get for us and everything else. So we appreciate that. And we will see you next month.
All right.